Good evening, everybody. We have a lot of breaking news for you tonight. The House of Representatives just a short time ago voting down a continuing resolution. That resolution would have kept the government open and funded through November 18th. The appropriations bill shot down on a 230 to 195 vote, more than 40 Republicans bucking their leadership, casting no votes. A government shutdown now seems a lot more likely, with a deadline for agreement 1 week from Friday. Much more on that developing story here later in the hour. Also tonight, President Obama delivering an address on Middle East peace at the United Nations today, a speech that at times sounded more like a campaign speech. We'll have reaction. And stocks today selling off on Wall Street after the Fed unveiled its latest effort to boost the economy, the so-called Operation Twist. And major new developments tonight on three fast-moving scandals that are plaguing the Obama White House. Scandal one, Solyndra, the Energy and Commerce Committee releasing documents today that show Solyndra executives had pledged cooperation in the investigation into the Obama administration just days ago. Then those executives decided to invoke their Fifth Amendment rights, and they will not testify regarding the administration's steering of $500 million to the now bankrupt solar panel company. Scandal number two, Light Squared. House Republicans now pushing the Obama administration to turn over all records of contact with billionaire hedge fund manager Philip Falcone, the principal backer of Light Squared. The White House has been accused of coercing testimony from military officials who were concerned that Light Squared's latest wireless venture would interfere with battlefield GPS systems. And Scandal 3, Fast and Furious, the investigation into that botched gun-running operation, uncovering potentially damaging new evidence against federal officials in charge of the operation. Secret audio recordings revealing that 3, not 2, Fast and Furious weapons were found at the murder scene of Border Patrol agent Brian Terry. Records from one gun store owner showing thousands of guns sold to suspected straw buyers. And in just a moment, we'll be joined by Congressman Darrell Issa, the head of the House Oversight Committee, the chairman leading those investigations into the Obama administration scandals. We begin with exclusive new details on Operation Fast and Furious. And as I mentioned, new audio tapes reveal a third weapon at the murder scene of Border Patrol agent Brian Terry. The man who made those secret tapes is Andre Howard. He's the owner of the Lone Wolf Trading Company. He thought the ATF was lying to him about the purpose of those gun sales, and he wanted to uncover the truth. Fox News correspondent William Lajeunesse has been covering the story and joins us from Los Angeles. William.
Well, Lou, the tapes last 2 hours long. Tonight, for the first time, you'll hear an excerpt from those tapes. You'll also hear from the gun store that was recruited to sell those weapons to the cartel, and also for the first time, a whistleblower ATF agent who has not gone public before. Now, those two men both say that the government lied about this operation.
I'm painted as either the biggest snitch ever in this industry, right, or I'm working for you.
That's Andre Howard, owner of the Lone Wolf Gun Store, speaking to the lead ATF agent in the Fast and Furious case. Howard secretly taped Hope McAllister after becoming convinced the ATF was lying to him about stopping the guns he sold before they reached members of the Mexican cartels.
He was acting under the direct supervision of the Department of Justice and ATF. He thought he was making a difference and that these people were being arrested and that there were going to be indictments and that there were going to be prosecutions.
Larry Gatos is Howard's lawyer. Records show Lone Wolf sold more than 1,000 weapons to suspected straw buyers, including those allegedly used to kill border agent Brian Terry.
Agent Terry's death just brought just a tremendous amount of I guess, regret and sorrow and disappointment, disgust.
Whistleblower agent Larry Alta speaking out for the first time after McAllister disparaged his family on one of the recordings. Here she says the FBI found 3 guns at Terry's murder scene, not 2, as the agency claims.
There's
actually
3 weapons.
3 weapons.
I know that. 3 weapons.
And yes, they have serial numbers of all 3.
That is correct. Is that
2 of them came from the store.
Lawyer Gatos says Howard was set up as the fall guy by ATF Chief Bill Newell.
He thought he was helping the good guys, and he had no way of knowing that those guns were going to crime scenes in the United States and in Mexico.
Now, Senator Charles Grassley and Congressman Issa released a letter moments ago demanding to know why the Department of Justice's Inspector General released those tapes to the U.S. Attorney in Arizona and ultimately to Agent McAllister herself, both targets of their probe. They say that the release of that information, Lou, compromised and undermined their investigation. Back to you.
William, thank you. Terrific reporting. And as you referenced, that letter, which we have right here, we'll be taking up with the chairman of the House Oversight Committee, Congressman Darrell Issa, seeking answers to those very questions here next. William, thank you very much. William Lajeunesse from Los Angeles. Well, investigations into a number of areas beyond Operation Fast and Furious in prospect for this administration. Joining us now is the chairman of the powerful House Oversight and Government Reform Committee. He is Congressman Darrell Issa. Congressman, great to have you with us. We have a great deal, obviously, to talk about. You have said that you're going to look into this administration's green energy program. That incorporates, of course, Solyndra and that $500 million debacle. Light Squared, which no one really quite understands the parameters of, the dimensions of those charges and allegations, and obviously Operation Fast and Furious. Let's start with the green jobs issue and what you're going to do in relationship to Solyndra and to Light Squared, as best you can tell us.
Well, Lou, I think the important thing is tomorrow we're going to have what is part of our continued monitoring of all the green spent and no jobs created. Our hearing will focus on the Green Energy Initiative, which was ideologically driven from day one by this administration, even in the face of an absence of job creation. Obviously, it's easy to focus and important to focus on a major bankruptcy and $500 million lost. But understand, in stimulus alone, we have about $90 billion, meaning 180 times as much money in peril that we're looking at tomorrow, where so much green is being spent, so few permanent jobs ever created, because this is an agenda not about low-cost, clean fuel going to job creators. Rather, it's about an agenda of trying to make something happen, even if, in fact, it doesn't pencil out now or in the near-term future. A lot of people talking, if you don't mind, about green jobs, and they talk about it like Apollo. If you adjust the entire Apollo program, getting us to the moon and back safely, in today's dollars, it was only $100 billion for the whole program. We've spent that in the stimulus alone.
And it's important to, as Congressman Barrasso pointed out, this $500 million is more than the administration sent out to 35 states for highways, for bridges. This is astonishing, the dimensions of this. Let me turn now, if I may, to specifically Solyndra and to Light Squared. Serious allegations. A four-star general saying point blank that the administration tried to influence his testimony, which he resisted. Point blank, Solyndra bankrupt, and it's clear that they were on an accelerated process, if you will, of being funded extraordinarily quickly so by this administration. Your thoughts?
Well, look, there's no shortage of arrogance in the House, the Senate. But in this case, the administration broke rules repeatedly. They broke long precedents in Fast and Furious, and Brian Terry is dead as a result. They broke the very rules that protect the taxpayers from finding themselves first or early on the hook in the case of a failed company. And we are on the hook. We will recover little or nothing of our $500 billion with Solyndra. In the case of Light Square, I think this is particularly important. We want the truth to Congress. We want the truth to the American people. Then we can have a decision about what to do. But if we can't get the facts fairly and it compromises national security, we have a deeper problem than the other two, as important as they are.
And Bloomberg, as soon as within 24 hours of this discussion about your committee's interest in Light Squared and in Solyndra, of course, there comes a story from Bloomberg saying, the headline of which, as you well know, is ICE has sought U.S. clean energy aid in the past, trying to get the Energy Department, Secretary Chu, to move on one of your constituents. Your response?
Well, first of all, we sent a letter because they had not been considered, they hadn't been given an answer, and the time was dragging on.
How long?
I believe it was more than 6 months of non-decision, and we were looking for that. But understand, I think members of Congress in the past have, in fact, lobbied for what they thought was right. We lobbied the previous administration. I was very involved in trying to help us restart our nuclear development so we could get zero emissions energy. It's fine to have a view. It's fine to let that be known. But we have processes that have to be protected. That's what our committee is looking at. Not did people want something, but did they shortcut the protections for the American people and their money? More importantly, did they break things in secret? In the case of Fast and Furious, Lou, as you know, this was kept from their very own agents. This was kept from the U.S. ambassador in Mexico City. The Attorney General of Mexico has called this a betrayal, and it's going to hurt our ability to get help in fighting drugs. The point of this investigation is find out where they broke the process. We already knew they had an ideological bent. That's okay, but it's not okay to break the rules and have the American people pay for it, or Brian Terry pay for it with his life.
Are you confident that we're going to get the answers from this administration?
We will get the answers, as the earlier segment, as you teed it up. A lot of the answers come from whistleblowers. A lot of the answers come from third-party people who are willing to be brave enough to come to us and know that there could be reprisals, but we help protect them. And it's part of what's made Fast and Furious successful. I've had almost no meaningful discovery from the administration.
Well,
I've had a tremendous amount.
Here's your most recent effort, the letter by you and Senator Chuck Grassley to Cynthia Snetter, who is the acting inspector general of the Department of Justice, asking why in the world these audio tapes were turned over to the very people who you're investigating. You've asked for an answer within a week. What do you think happens?
Well, I look forward to the answer, and if there's some answer that I just don't understand, fine. But so far, they've implied that they're doing it based on Brady rules, implied that they have to do it. The fact is, you do not give a target of an investigation this kind of material, and it clearly got in the way of a discovery. And by the way, in the case of the ATF agent that was part of our target, we had been convinced by the administration to delay interviewing her so as not to get in the way of a prosecution. We had done so only to be betrayed by this process that now makes it very difficult to get the kind of answers we deserve in an investigation.
This is now fully foursquare a confrontation between the United States Congress and the executive in the case of Operation Fast and Furious. What is the next step?
Well, we'll take it step by step. In the case of this, quite frankly, you saw that we were able to get the cases transferred to San Diego, get it out of the people who were part of the problem. It appears as though we could have the same... We should point out that the U.S. attorney in Phoenix, which was the location of this,
has resigned.
And additionally, the assistant U.S. attorneys that were also part of this process are not going to work on the case. That allows us to get the kind of prosecutions of the people responsible for these many deaths on both sides of the border held accountable. At the same time, we will continue our investigation. We will get to the bottom of it, probably more by whistleblowers than we will by the administration. And it will only be to the detriment of the administration. This is exactly what people in your business would say. It's not the crime, it's the cover-up. We're shocked that it's become the cover-up rather than an admission that this was indefensible long ago. Senator Grassley should have gotten answers early on. Instead, there was a concerted effort to delay or deter him. And when we got involved, to a great extent, we were getting involved because Senator Grassley had been snubbed by the administration and would have continued to be. That's not the America that any of us want, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat.
Congressman Darrell Issa, Mr. Chairman, thanks for being with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Lou.